Most people think they're losing because they lack discipline, but that's not true. The real reason is far more dangerous. Every single day, your mind is being trained by something. Your habits, your emotions, your distractions. The question is, are you training your mind, or is the world training it for you? Because the difference between a mentally strong person and someone controlled by stress, anger, and distraction isn't talent, it's conditioning. And once you understand how the Stoics trained their minds to remain calm under pressure, you'll start seeing your own struggles in a completely different way. In fact, one hidden habit may be quietly destroying your self-control without you even realizing it. Think about the last time you promised yourself you would focus on something important. Maybe it was a project, a workout, a new habit, or a goal you've been putting off for months. You started with good intentions, but then distractions appeared. A notification, a message, a sudden urge to check your phone. Before you knew it, the momentum was gone. Most people blame a lack of motivation. The Stoics would have disagreed. They understood that motivation comes and goes. Discipline remains. And discipline is not something you're born with. It's something you train. Your mind is always adapting to whatever you repeatedly do. If you repeatedly seek comfort, your mind becomes comfortable with comfort. If you repeatedly avoid challenges, your mind becomes skilled at avoidance. But if you repeatedly face discomfort, uncertainty, and resistance, your mind gradually becomes stronger. This is why mental toughness isn't built during easy seasons of life. It's built during difficult ones. Imagine two people facing the exact same setback. Both lose an opportunity they desperately wanted. One becomes bitter and discouraged. The other feels disappointed, but quickly begins searching for a solution. The event is identical. The response is different. And that response shapes the future. The Stoics believed that your power begins where your reactions end. Most people spend their lives trying to control everything around them. They want better circumstances, better timing, better opportunities, and better people. But the Stoics focused on something far more important: themselves. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself that you have power over your mind, not outside events. At first glance, it sounds simple, but if you truly understand it, it changes the way you approach life. Think about how much energy people waste worrying about things they cannot control: the opinions of strangers, the actions of other people, the outcome of future events, the mistakes of the past. The mind becomes exhausted fighting battles it can never win. Mental toughness begins when you stop trying to control everything and start focusing on what actually belongs to you. Your thoughts, your actions, your attitude, your choices. That's where real strength lives. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing every thought that enters their mind. A negative thought appears. Immediately they assume it's true. A fear appears. They assume it's a prediction. An insecurity appears. They assume it's reality. But thoughts are not commands. Emotions are not instructions. And feelings are not facts. Imagine you're about to send an important email, apply for a new opportunity, or speak up during an important meeting. You know exactly what you want to say. Then suddenly a thought appears. What if I fail? What if they judge me? What if I'm not good enough? Nothing in reality has changed. Only a thought appeared. Yet that thought suddenly begins controlling your behavior. This is how many people lose opportunities. Not because reality stops them, because they obey every fearful thought that enters their mind. The Stoics understood something powerful. Wisdom begins when you stop automatically believing everything your mind tells you. As Epictetus once said, no man is free who is not master of himself. Read that again. Not master of circumstances, not master of other people, master of himself. Because if your emotions control your decisions, you're not free. If your impulses control your actions, you're not free. If your attention is controlled by every distraction around you, you're not free. True freedom starts within. This becomes even more important in the modern world. Today, attention is under attack. Every app wants your focus. Every notification wants your reaction. Every headline wants your emotion. Most people spend their lives reacting. Very few spend their lives choosing. And that's why so many people feel mentally exhausted. Their minds never rest. Their attention is constantly being pulled in different directions. The Stoics would have viewed attention as one of the most valuable resources a human being possesses, because wherever attention goes, energy follows, and wherever energy goes, your life follows. This is why self-control isn't punishment, it's freedom. Every area where you lack self-control eventually gains control over you. If you cannot control your impulses control you. If you cannot control your reactions, your emotions control you. If you cannot control your attention, the world controls you. The irony is that most people want confidence before they take action. They wait until they feel ready. They wait until fear disappears. They wait until uncertainty fades away. But confidence rarely arrives first. Confidence is often the result of action, not the cause of it. The Stoics understood that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action despite fear. Every mentally strong person you've ever admired has experienced doubt. The difference is that they moved forward anyway. Each time they acted despite discomfort, they trained their minds to become stronger. Think about someone stepping into freezing water for the first time. Their body immediately wants to escape. Everything inside them says, "Get out." But if they stay long enough, something remarkable happens. They adapt. The discomfort doesn't disappear completely, but they become capable of handling it. Life works the same way. Most fears become smaller when you stop running from them. Most challenges become manageable when you stop avoiding them. The mind grows stronger through exposure, not avoidance. Every difficult conversation avoided increases fear. Every challenge avoided increases weakness. Every discomfort escaped reinforces the belief that you cannot handle discomfort. But the opposite is also true. Every challenge faced builds confidence. Every fear confronted builds resilience. Every uncomfortable action expands your sense of capability. This is why mentally tough people appear calm during situations that overwhelm others. It's not because they don't feel pressure, it's because they've practiced carrying pressure. They've trained themselves to remain steady when emotions try to pull them off course. One of the biggest lies people tell themselves is, "I'll become disciplined when life gets easier." But life rarely gets easier first. The stronger version of you is built during difficult seasons, not after them. Many people approach self-improvement by waiting for motivation, but motivation is one of the most unreliable forces in human behavior. Some days you feel unstoppable. Other days you don't feel like doing anything. If your actions depend entirely on your emotions, your progress will always be inconsistent. The Stoics didn't trust emotions to guide their actions. They trusted principles. Because emotions change daily, principles remain. One day you're confident. The next day you're uncertain. One day you're motivated. The next day you're exhausted. If you follow emotions, you'll constantly change direction. But when you follow principles, you remain steady, regardless of how you feel. This is where self-control becomes powerful. You don't need motivation to do what matters. You need commitment. You don't need confidence before taking action. You need courage. You don't need certainty before moving forward. You need trust in yourself. And that trust is built through evidence. Not positive thinking, not wishful thinking. Evidence. Every promise you keep to yourself becomes evidence. Every difficult action completed becomes evidence. Every challenge faced becomes evidence. Slowly, your mind begins to see you differently. You stop seeing yourself as someone who only acts when conditions are perfect. You become someone who acts because it matters, and that changes your identity. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Think about how true that is. How many times have you spent hours worrying about something that never happened? How many nights have you lost sleep over possibilities that never became reality? The mind has a habit of creating problems before they exist. Mental toughness is the ability to return your attention to reality, to focus on what is happening instead of what might happen. Another reason people struggle emotionally is because they spend too much energy fighting reality. Something goes wrong, immediately they think, this shouldn't be happening. But reality doesn't change because we dislike it. The sooner we accept what is happening, the sooner we can focus on what to do next. Acceptance is not weakness. Acceptance is clarity. It's seeing the situation exactly as it is. Nothing more, nothing less. Imagine being caught in a storm. You can spend hours complaining about the rain, or you can find shelter. Only one response helps you move forward. The same principle applies to life. The mentally tough person doesn't waste energy arguing with reality. They adapt, and adaptation is one of the highest forms of strength. Think about the strongest person you know, not the loudest, not the richest, not the most successful, the strongest. Chances are they didn't become strong because life was easy. They became strong because life forced them to face challenges they could not avoid, and instead of breaking, they adapted. That's what mental toughness really is, not avoiding pressure, learning how to carry it. The Stoics expected obstacles, not because they were pessimistic, because they were realistic. They understood that setbacks are part of life, difficult people are part of life, uncertainty is part of life, change is part of life. When you stop treating obstacles like personal attacks, something changes. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? Every challenge becomes training. Every setback becomes feedback. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity to strengthen character. This doesn't make life easier. It makes you stronger. And perhaps that's the greatest lesson Stoicism offers. Your goal is not to eliminate difficulty from your life. Your goal is to become the kind of person who can handle difficulty without losing yourself in the process. Because life will always be unpredictable. There will always be setbacks. There will always be criticism. There will always be uncertainty. But when you train your mind like a Stoic, you stop depending on perfect circumstances to feel stable. You stop needing external validation to feel valuable. You stop allowing temporary emotions to dictate permanent decisions. Instead, you develop something far more powerful, a quiet strength. The kind of strength that doesn't need attention. The kind of strength that remains calm when others panic. The kind of strength that stays focused when others become distracted. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That simple truth has survived for centuries because it remains true today. In a world filled with noise, distraction, uncertainty, and emotional pressure, the ability to govern your own mind may be one of the most valuable skills a person can develop. And the beautiful thing is that this strength isn't reserved for extraordinary people. It's built through ordinary choices, repeated consistently over time. One decision, one challenge, one uncomfortable moment at a time, until one day you realize something profound. The obstacles you once feared were never there to stop you. They were there to train you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Kinda tired trying.